Hello everybody, welcome back to another episode of TropicMarin reefers. So today we'll be actually revisiting one of our customer tanks. If you remember, we posted about this 7 feet reef tank a few weeks ago, and now we'll be revisiting it back after adding a couple of livestock, some corals and some fishes. So let's see how are they doing. In this video, I'll be explaining to you all the equipment that we previously used and a more in-depth version of how I maintain this tank and how I reduce the maintenance cost but I increase the effectiveness of the maintenance itself. So there are many pointers in the video. It can be quite technical sometimes, but I'll do my best to explain it as layman terms as possible. The purpose of this video is actually to show you how easy it is to keep a beautiful reef aquarium without much effort at all. Okay, so let's first off start with the most important part of every reef aquarium. A very good system to manage your items when the maintenance team is not around. So for here on top, flow is the number one most important factor in keeping your reef aquarium. This is one of the 4 main factors to help your reef aquarium to be stable. So first off, flow, afterwards lighting, and of course temperature, and lastly your water parameters. First off, let's go towards the flow. So in this system, we mostly use a gyro wave maker. I employ the use of gyro wave makers because it's very powerful and it also allows a random flow around the tank without any forceful impact, without any direct impact like those smaller directed power heads have. So unfortunately, the only weak point about gyro flow is that you're unable to actually tune it based on left and right. It's only one straight direction. So we actually employ 2 MCP 150 on the overflow side and 1 MCP 150 on the other side, as you can see over here. As for the next system itself, which is the lighting, I actually use 488 SE lights, which are very strong and powerful lights to bring out the colors of the coral and to provide a good spectrum for all your corals to thrive in. And also, thirdly, we of course use the Arctica chiller, one of the best chillers around the world, to effectively chill and cool down the water temperature. This is actually the most important step, and because chillers are very expensive, beginners will actually try to scrimp on that, try to get a cheaper one that says it does its job. But let me tell you something, most chillers on the market, they actually do not perform as rated, unfortunately so. So Arctica is a very powerful brand of chiller and is long-lasting, reliable, and is very quiet as well. So that's why for this big of a tank here, I prioritize efficiency over the price itself. So for this, we chose Arctica 1/3 horsepower chiller, and it's able to cool down this huge tank effectively without much noise in the house. Lastly will be your water parameters, which I use a variety of equipment to actually help me to maintain this. So firstly, I have a Red Sea skimmer over here. The Red Sea skimmer is actually powerful enough to suck out all the detritus, to suck out all the excess nutrients that the fishes and corals produce. And a good effective skimmer is really 100 times more important than you scrubbing the tank or anything. So a good oversized powerful skimmer actually does most of the work for you without you even doing anything. So in this case, we employ the Red Sea RSK 900. It's the most powerful skimmer in the Red Sea series. And if you can see, I only use a filter salt for this tank. So I did not employ the use of Red Sea mat because it's actually very tough to change it out and in. And I use other systems to actually replace the nutrients level, to actually control the nutrient level. So you can see here, I just stuff filter wool into each of these components. We actually will trap most of the dirt, and every week when I come, I just change out a new filter wool. It's more than enough to clear out the system. And also I added a bag of carbon in high flowing chamber to suck out all the organic detritus, all the organic components in the water. Next, of course, I load up about 4 bags of biomedia. This works to effectively reduce the bio waste of the tank. And of course, you can see here there's a Red Sea skimmer pump. So this is absolutely most important for every single tank. The return pump is the most important. Get a good brand, don't scrimp on it. Get a good brand, make sure it doesn't fail. Because the return pump is the heart of the system. If the heart of the system fails, everything will die. And it's really not worth, if you're going to be spending thousands of dollars on livestock, it's not worth to get like $100 or a second-hand return pump. Get a good return pump, make sure it works well, and your system will definitely thrive. So other items, which also includes this fluidized reactor. If you have met me in person, big fan of fluidized reactor. This is easily one of the most important components in a reef tank. It helps you to control your phosphate readings to its lowest, because many people missed out the fact that phosphate actually is one of the biggest killers in a reef tank. You only test your calcium, your magnesium, your KH. They control that so well, but they fail to notice that their phosphate levels are climbing. So with the use of this phosphate reactor, and of course your phosphate media inside. It lowers your phosphate a lot and it helps to maintain it there for a long period of time. So a big fluidized reactor, if you have space in your sump, is definitely desirable in your tank. And of course this portion itself, when water goes out of phosphate reactor, it's important to keep a sock at the end of phosphate reactor also to prevent your sump from getting dirty, to prevent all these granules from going inside your tank. And of course dosing to maintain your water parameters. As you can see, it's just a very basic setup. I only dose all for Reef. That's all I need to keep this system stable. Usual parameter testing, weekly parameter testing, and make sure I dose the correct amount of alpha-reef in your system. So some of you might want to scream on the parameter testing. No, if you really want to keep a beautiful reef tank, my advice is that you gotta love this type of things. You gotta love testing your waters, you gotta love looking at your fish tank, you gotta be very resilient of any changes in a reef tank. So this is really the key advice, the key mindset if you want to keep a proper reef aquarium. And of course, lastly, you have this automatic top-up system. So this is a Reef Can 18 by Red Sea, and I use a very basic top-up system to top up the water into the aquarium itself. This is very important for maintaining the salinity of your aquarium, the final stage of your keeping your corals happy. So with all these basics in place, definitely your reef aquarium will be very easy. Okay, so next stage itself, we will be going towards the livestock portion, which is the most interesting part of this tank. So in this 7-feet tank, we are actually doing mixed reef system. So a combination of SPS, LPS and soft coral. So as you can see, it's mainly LPS dominated with a few SPS around the system, and we're just really waiting for it to grow. So first off, the front look of the tank. So you can see a few elegants on the floor. They are opening wide and happy, and of course on the top there you see some soft coral swaying left and right. Of course your typical Kenya trees, your toadstools, your ladders, your napiers, your sponges, your Australia cinereals as well. And also some of your LPS corals, which are nicer and more luminance. You have your nice blooming Australia acorn right here. And of course you have some Indonesian hammers as well. And of course a huge barbel coral that we have right here. And some torches at the back, which I'll be showing you later, and some chalices. So in my opinion, a reef tank only looks good when it mimics the sea. So sometimes when they cluster too many corals together, they don't actually give them space to grow. That's not very good for the aquarium. So you gotta make sure your corals have more space to grow, they won't sting each other, give them some leeway. Even in the case that they get bloomed, they get larger, they will not like fight with your other corals and killing everything around it. In this tank, I really put the corals based on the flow that they like. As you can see, some of the corals at the top are mostly soft corals and SPS. And who said that mixed reef tank can be difficult? So you see, we have a SPS right here. It's one of the easier SPS. It's a Millipora. So you can see the polyps are waving happily, opening wide, and they all look very happy in their natural habitat. Yeah, that's about it for the front of the tank. Let's take a look at the other side. Okay, so looking at this portion of the reef tank, you can actually see a lot of acanthophilus on the floor, slowly sunbathing and enjoying the light itself. Then of course you can see some Gonioporas happily over here, opening wide, and some frog spawn and hammers living together. Of course, you also can see the torch coral, like I mentioned earlier, opening very well, adjusting very actively to the flow. And these special sponginates, which I absolutely love. Very easy to keep, and they are very notorious to growing big and looks very fancy. This is my favorite coral. This is called a brain coral from Australia. It has a wide different variety of colors, very easy to keep, puff up huge, easy to feed, and it just looks gorgeous. So moving on towards the fish portion. So for coral lovers, I think you guys will know me very well. I really take my time on the fishes. I don't really aggressively add them in one shot, add like 50 or 60 pieces. No, I never do that because the nutrients are very imbalanced and unstable. Your system might not be able to hold it and it might crash. Once your fishes crash, your corals will start to feel the nutrients increase and they will all die as a result. So fishes, I always go with a much slower approach. Focus on your corals first before you add fishes that are healthy for your aquarium. So after the coral tank is filled up, I actually added some clean-up fishes. These fish may not look very impressive, nor they are very expensive, but they work as a very powerful clean-up crew for your aquarium so that your corals can be very happy. So you can see here, this is a Naso tank. It's excellent for your algae control. Some of you might not know this, but Naso tank is excellent for your bubble algae. You guys are always trying to find emerald crabs and whatnot for your algae control, but no, I always use a Naso tank because they always clean up very fast. I hardly use invertebrates to clean up all these major algae problems. Rather, I use a Naso tank because it's a fish and it's clean up everything in like a few days time, and you won't ever have to worry about this problem ever again. So one shot, one kill. And of course, you have this sailfin tank, which is amazing for all your hair algae, sometimes your glass algae, everything. Then sometimes I use my invertebrates, like your conchas. You have your strawberry conchas over here with their heads, with the eyes popping out, hunting for food. And of course your turbo snails and starfishes, sand-sifting stars, which cannot be seen in this video. Yeah, they're all hiding under sand now. They're excellent for cleaning up your sand, your algae in your nooks and cranny, all the little nooks and cranny between your rocks. So they are really very essential for a healthy reef tank. And of course, most important of all, I love to use foxface because they are not only a very good herbivorous, they love to eat bubble algae for me as well, which is something that I really hate and will kill corals in the long term. And of course, this amazing jam tank right here, super huge, sometimes help me to eat algae, keep the system friendly and everything. It's getting bathed by the cleaner rust now. You have your damsels to school and they will look super good in a huge reef tank when they come in and out of the coral. Sometimes they do fight, it gets very irritating. And of course, sometimes chromis is very helpful. They do actually hunt for flatworms and they actually do hunt for loose flatworms that are flying around in the water, so that actually keeps your flatworm in control. Yeah, for fishes, that's about it, so stay tuned. Definitely will be adding more interesting fishes inside. Okay, moving on. So what I do to actually, some of my personal tips and tricks to help this tank thrive. So some of you might be wondering, is this system really enough to hold so many livestock? Are the equipments really enough to keep all these corals and fish happy? In my personal opinion, for how many ever years I've been doing maintenance, is really more than enough. Keep your tanks simple. Do not overcomplicate things by adding so many different items inside algae reactor or your little biopellet reactor. The more items you add, there are more sources of human error and there are more sources of mistakes. Really cut all that out. A good performing reef tank comes down to its basics. So basics, for example, number one, I always use a good grade salt. Never ever scream on salt because that's the foundation of your reef tank. That's the basis of your reef tank. Your fish needs it to survive, your coral needs it to survive. So what I recommend for this tank is always using a TropicMarin symbiotic salt. I've used symbiotic salt for over a couple of years and I found its effect to be very powerful. You will never ever find this effect in other salt brands. Trust me, if you ever come to my store before, you can have a look on our coral tanks, you can have a look on our display tanks and everything, and you can really see the effects on TropicMarin symbiotic salt. For a full detailed explanation of the salt, you can check it out here. And so for the second thing to take note of is that do not dose many different type of items in your aquarium. It's very hard to control each and every single component. So in my opinion, all for reef is really more than enough. Do not try to chase your KH numbers when the internet says like, oh, 8 to 9 KH is good, 7 to 8 KH is good, maybe 10 KH is good. There are many people that have many different answers of what KH is good for different aquariums. In my opinion, change the mindset away from that. Always go for stability. If your aquarium do well at 7 kH, 6 kH even, leave it as that. Continue dosing, but slightly increase it to slightly higher ranges, in my opinion. So most important thing is always stability, stability, and stability. Never ever change your aquarium just because somebody says, oh, your phosphate is 0.25. It's quite high, but your corals are thriving, so really, why do you care? Of course, the other rationale is that when you see your corals are not doing well, and you test that your phosphates are off the levels of what it was before, let's say it was always running at 0.03, suddenly one day you come back from overseas 0.25, that means something is going wrong and your corals are not very happy with this sudden change. And never use any drastic measures to bring your KH fly high, let's say from 7 to 9. Never try to bring it that high in a day, or never lower your phosphate from 0.25 to 0.03 in a day. Never do that. Slowly strip it away and slowly increase your KH through stable dosing. Of course, get a good dosing pump. Use good liquids. Good liquids, I mean like our TropicMarin or for Reef, contains everything inside. Doesn't matter if your cage don't really meet the standard value of 8. Sometimes my aquarium are kept at 7 and they do perfectly well. Okay, so that's my second tip. And the last tip of all is knowing your livestock well. So your tank can be in perfect condition, but if you do not know how to choose your livestock, you always buy the livestock that sometimes, I'm sorry to say this, some might offend some people. You always buy it when it's cheap, you always buy it when it's on sale. They might not actually be the livestock that you want to keep in your aquarium. So what I mean by that is that you should always buy from sellers that have a good reputation. Of course, Aquamarine, I do my best to quarantine my livestock. We do our best to keep our livestock clean from pests. That's why I invested a lot into the equipment itself, powerful UVs to kill off the pests, use powerful copper system to keep everything stable. And of course, I also choose when to remove the livestock from the tank, put in another tank for quarantine system if I see any diseases, etc. So if you buy from us, buy with a peace of mind that you know that the livestock are safe, you know the livestock that will not spread any diseases. And of course, an ounce of prevention is always better than an ounce of cure. So always keep that in mind when putting anything in your aquarium. If it's something too cheap, most of the time it's really too good to be true. So in my honest opinion, from a person to person, a human to human, actively do your research on your livestock before purchasing it. Buy from an honest seller and never go for livestock that are sometimes full of pests. Okay, so now comes to the last portion of our video. So if you guys haven't already heard, we do maintenance as well. We set up tanks, customize tanks. If you are serious into this hobby and want to build a beautiful reef tanks, you can always look for Aquamarine. So if you guys didn't know, this hood is actually customized itself. And the aluminium stem is also customized itself also inside. If you can see from this hole right here, this is the feeding hole, so you can throw your food in there, the fishes will love it. And through this feeding hole, you can also see the customized black aluminium stand that fixated onto the wall before we put this hood on. If you guys want to check out a visual video of how we do our maintenance of this tank, it's right here. Okay, thank you for your kind comments. Now I'm moving the mic away from me. I hope you still can hear me clearly. Okay, so don't forget to like, comment and subscribe. Comment all your thoughts about this aquarium. Whatever I'm saying is correct or wrong, up to you. If you have any questions, do feel free to give us a text or come down to our store or just comment below. We will do our best to reply to you when we see them. Okay, bye!